session as more like a conversation. So what I'm going to share, it's not something I read it from some books or talking about. It's my experience. It's my experience, what I've seen, and also learn from my interviews and also from my job. So I would also like to learn what are your challenges are and how, and I would also like to learn from you. So just to give you context about me, so that you understand what ideas and what concepts I'm talking about. I'm currently a technical product manager at Commerce Tools. I have started my career like 10 years ago as a Java developer. And you see here, I already made a transition being a Java developer, and now I'm a technical product manager. And I never had a title called UX or design related title, but I run a community called Product Prototyping. I'm so much passionate on usability design, but I never had that title. And I also got, today also I got a LinkedIn message for a product designer job, which I never have any title. I never had any title of UX design. Look at my LinkedIn profile, but I still get that job ad. People quite often reach out to me. But yeah, that's a different story. Apart from that, I'm currently front-end development or front-end for designers mentor at Career Foundry. And I run a product prototyping and product management community in Berlin. And I used to run a lot of physical events. I've run more than 100 events in the last 5 years, and also helped to more than 100 speakers to prepare. And yeah, so I would also like to learn, since we have, oh, I saw some chat message. Since we have small number, I would also like to know about your background. Like what are you looking for? Are you looking for a UX role or front-end designer or front-end developer or a product manager? So it really helps me to give examples, even though it's not there on my slide. I can give more context to it. So it would be nice if all of you can just type your maybe a background or what you're looking for. For example, if you're a UX designer, you can say, hey, I'm an aspiring UX designer with whatever the background. Would be nice to see. So as I said before, I would also like to have this conversation style talk. I really like it. That brings me more, so that I can also learn from you, and also I can give a proper right examples. I can give you a couple of 1 minute. We can, please don't feel shy. It's okay.
It's always the hardest for the first person to take the dance floor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, let me see. Who's usually quite outspoken? Michelle, I see you smiling.
Yeah, I see a full stack web
wrote
developer.
it in the chat already.
I think the more you write it, what I can also say is that surprise, like I also do this one-on-one consulting. So those are, oh, that's good. It's coming. Junior full stack developer, UI UX designer, UI designer, tourism background, full stack web developer, background in hospitality, sales, product management. Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's a mixture of mainly full stack web development and a little bit of UI, UX, and product management. All good. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, it really helps me to prepare. I'm not sure how many of you already applying for jobs, but just want to tell you that I'm also one of you, like you, who also quite often receive these rejection emails. I know it feels really bad. It feels really bad, really, really bad. I know. I used to feel really bad, but some steps I took, or some thoughts or some learnings I did a couple of years ago, which totally changed my mindset. and which I no more get this, or I would say the kind of amount of things quite drastically reduced. So I'm going to talk about those 5 points. I kind of try to summarize them in 5 main points. Hopefully that gives you kind of easy to remember, and so that hopefully you will not get these kind of quite often. So you increase your chances of getting your job. So let's get started. So the first thing, which is I would say one of the hardest thing, which also today also kind of still kind of evaluating, like, hey, what I'm good at, what I really enjoy most, what I wanted to work on. Is it I'm picking that course or a Ironhack or whatever those things just because somebody else also doing that, or is it because I really like it or not? So having that cluster real clarity on, like, hey, this is the thing which I really like, this is the thing which I don't like. So having that clarity is really hard, and I want to show you some things I followed, or some things which really helped me to find this clarity. And also the very big advantage of having clarity, in my opinion, I think most of you know Simon, and it talks about working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. So when you have clarity, when you know what you want to work on, and you convert your work into passion, right? So you don't feel like, even if you're working 2 hours more, you don't feel like a stress. So you feel like a passion. To tell me one example, like, hey, okay, you're talking about that, what's your passion? Even though my current job is a technical product manager, is nothing to do with recruiting and helping job seeker. One of my passion I recently found out was sharing knowledge with job seekers or career switchers. It's kind of, I'm feeling really enjoying it. I really feel happy when I share my knowledge and learnings. If it's helpful for someone, it really makes me happy. So that's my passion, along with other technical product management, coding, all those stuff. So find out your passion, like what do you care? And the other big advantage of that clarity is what I see most of them, or what I see most of the resumes. If I look at my students at Career Foundry front-end for designers, I see a generic resume. I feel that's really bad. Because you're in a race where, just like you, there are other 1,000 applicants are applying for this job. So it's really, really important to think about what's unique about you, and also think about what describes you the best, which is like not generic to others. It can be a full stack developer. Full stack web developer is a generic term, but you can also say, hey, what can I make it more personal? For example, a full stack developer with a fashion background, or full stack developer with a travel background, or full stack web developer with a JavaScript. Think about what makes you unique, what makes you not generic, what makes you special. So that way you filter out the competition and you make your niche. And that really helps you also to get more job requirements. For example, for me, LinkedIn. So you can also optimize your profile according to that, so that you can get more recruiters approaching with that particular role. And if you ask me what my current personified title is, I'm a technical product manager. I have a strong developer experience. I worked as a Java and JavaScript developer, and I have a strong interest for why and how in terms of users and also business. I'm a technical product manager, but I can also say that, hey, I'm a front-end technical product manager because I have a strong front-end web development experience. Or I can also say I'm a design system product manager. You see, there's a difference between product manager and design system product manager. You might be wondering, hey, so what? Who cares? You see that when I have such titles, I already am making myself narrow down with, hey, I'm good at that. I got a good experience that I have a really higher chances of getting that job because I'm already bringing that experience, and also makes you personified, right? There's a big difference between the people applying for design system product manager, all the generic product managers, versus people who are applying with proper background. So look out for what makes you unique, what makes you special. To do that, I called this term. I invented this term while preparing for this talk, like two weeks ago, 2 weeks or 1 week ago. I don't remember. We hear these UX designers quite often. They hear called empathy. You need to have empathy. So I kind of flipped out this EM with me. Like, I think it's really, really important to apply that empathy to yourself. When I'm talking about yourself, like, hey, look at your past work. What did you enjoy most? What are you looking for? Like, what work did you enjoy? And what people are telling about you, like it could be your manager, hey, you're good at that, or your peers, or your friends. I know it's hard. That's why I said the clarity is finding a clarity is really, really hard, which takes a lot of time. What do you enjoy most? Things like that. And also, I can highly recommend Simon's talk on Find Your Why. It's a good starting point. If you have not watched this, it's available on YouTube. I can highly recommend you. And thinking about why can also give you like, hey, what I want to do. And also, what do you want to stand for? Like, hey, after 5 years or 2 years, hey, this is what I'm proud of. This is what I'm known for. And for example, like I'm really good at technical things, and also I really love product management. So I want to be a really good technical product manager. I would say like I want to be a top technical product manager. That would be my next 2 years goal. So I would like to stand for that. If somebody searches for me on Google for technical product manager, so I should be at least in top list. So that would be my kind of stand for. And once you know that, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is what I care about. And also, it's not only for title. It can also be for your job. For example, somebody who's passionate on sustainability. You can say, hey, I'm a sustainability-focused UX designer. I want to create some products which are focused on sustainability. And also you can say that, hey, I'm a sustainable focused product or developer or a full stack developer. I want to create solutions which are focused on sustainable solutions. So that also kind of makes you kind of unique and also makes you passion, right? And the second thing, am I too fast? Am I too slow? I'm talking about a lot because I have 5 still to cover. Just give me a hint. I'm on a right way. Okay, all good. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about. I know it's a really generic term. Do your research. Once you know your passion, it's important to do your research on your dream company you would like to work for. For example, you can take an example, sustainability. I talked about sustainability, and I'm based in Berlin. So let's see all startups or companies who are working towards sustainability in Berlin. So I can do a Google research, I can do a Google search where I can get all the list of companies, like Ecosia. I can find hundreds and tens of companies which they are like fits my passion, which I want to do, I want to talk about. And it can also be the other research you can do is like take out those companies, go to their LinkedIn page or YouTube or medium.com, read about it. What do they care for? For example, most of the companies, they have their sales pitch. So they try to sell what problem they have and what problem they're trying to solve. So that way you understand, hey, this is the company which I really don't want to work for. For example, like Spotify. Spotify has a design blog. So you can learn a lot of their design principles, how they solve the problem. And that way you can learn about the company. And along with your research, this is also, I kind of invented while preparing for this talk. This is a Venn diagram. I assume most of you are familiar with this Venn diagram. The mapping of your skills with a job requirement. Look at, for example, I'm passionate on Spotify. I decided I want to work for my dream company at Spotify. I'm just giving an example, even though I don't have a thing, I'm just giving an example. So you can open a LinkedIn job also for a Spotify UX designer or product designer, and you can list out what all skill sets they are expecting and what skills you got. And you can kind of map out what common skills you got. And that's the area where I'm going to talk about the last point, which is storytelling, that's kind of comes at the end. But I want to talk about, this is the common skills you got. List on those common skills. It can also be from your past experience. It doesn't have to be your current experience or you're from a bootcamp experience. Once you have that, and this blue or area, also an indication that what skills you don't have. Let me move this Zoom thing so I can also point out here. Oops. This job skills, this blue area is the area you have to improve. This is the area where you lack. If you're seeing that in repetition. And for example, one tool I use is Jobs here on LinkedIn, for example. You can also give it a try. And it already gives me kind of a, hey, I'm looking for a UX role, for example. This is just for a demo. You can see that it already gives me that, hey, I'm a 90% match for this role. And you see that it highlights that these are the skills I got. I already have it. And you could use whatever the tool, or you can also do manually. Look through the job ads, do your research, and see what skills you have and what skills you don't have. The more patterns you see here, that's the place you have to invest and improve, because that's your dream company and that's a dream job you want to work for. So, and repeating like something you're passionate on it, you don't feel like stress, right? So work on that. And also the next step, as a part of research, most of the companies in the example you would like to work on, they have some kind of a product, right? Some kind of a digital product. It can be Google, it can be Spotify. They have a product. You can have only 3 types of experience, right? Either you are delighted, or either you are not happy, or you're sad, or you're kind of okay-ish, right? So for example, if you're looking for a UX role, and you can talk about what's the good design, what they did well. And if you think they did okay in design, or if they did bad experience, talk about it. Hey, this is a thing they did bad, and they can do it better by whatever the skills you got from your Ironhack or whatever the bootcamp you're in, right? Appreciate the good design. And if you see something is okay or something is bad, also talk about this bad and this is how you can improve it with your skill. If, for example, okay, that's for designers, what about for developers? Like, for example, most of the companies have GitHub, and they also contribute a lot of things to open source. So when you have open source, look at their contributions are, look at their issues are, and look at what skills you learn. I think most of you are full stack. So look out for issues, look out for documentation, try to consume their APIs, try to play around with their product. Look out for how can you fix those bugs, contribute them. So that way you also gain experience, and also think about what did they do well. Look at what code is really nicely written code. That way you can also get experience, what the clean code looks like. And for product manager case, think about what business model you can bring them, what customer problems are currently faced, how can you bring business to them, and what customer problems you can solve. So you can also think about some short blog posts, right? Okay, my next point is supposed to be at show your craft. No, it should be a third one, my typo. So once you have these kind of idea, what you want to talk about, find out things. So it's time to showcase your ideas. And for example, this is a blog post by a junior product designer. She doesn't, Jasmine, she doesn't work at Google, and she's based in, I think she's based in Australia, I guess. Yeah, what she did is she took a research on Google Maps from first version of Google Maps till the current version of Google Maps, and she wrote a case study about it and what all the things like changed and what they consider when they're designing for Google Maps and why they do in that particular color selections, all those why behind those design decisions, right? Again, I want to show this example because Jasmine is a junior product designer and she doesn't work for Google. And you don't have to work for Google to write a blog post about Google Maps. So think about your dream company and you think something worth sharing your knowledge, you can write a blog post about it, or you can also write we can talk in YouTube, a short video about your analysis. So don't restrict yourself. So share the knowledge of your learnings, right? And for example, okay, so what? Why I should care? You might ask, I don't care. I don't care about those companies, but I'll tell you why it's really great opportunity for you, right? For example, this is my experience, right? I want to show my experience. I landed in a job interview. I think most of you are product developers, so you know Stack Overflow. I got a job interview for Stack Overflow just by writing this article. And I know that Stack Overflow is one of the hardest to get interviews. So what I did was I took one of their landing page and I looked into their usability issues and I created a small problem and I suggested a potential solution. There was so much interested with that and I got a job interview for it. And they had like really complex multiple steps. But what I'm trying to say is that you can sideline the competition and you can get your job interviews and get really into the hiring management, really get into those mid-stage or final stage interviews. So just to show you an example, this is like 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. So what I did was just 1 hour sitting down, writing a blog post about what I found out, what's something bad, what something can be make better. So this is what I told you, right? This is what I said. If you don't like something, talk about it and provide solution. And always look for Stack Overflow is one of the great company to work for. So still it's my list. So it's great company to work for. So yeah, you can do that, right? And quite often I get this question. Hey, what if I don't have any experience? Yes, Anil, whatever you're telling, it's great, but I don't have any experience. So here, I would like to provide you some ideas how to find your experience, right? The question should not be like, what, I don't have any experience. Question should be, how can I get that experience, right? So, for example, look out outside. Look out outside. For example, this one from Berlin, and I kind of purchased this reduced fare when I came to Berlin 7 years ago or 6 years ago, and I ended up paying a fine of 40 euros to the police because I was carrying the wrong ticket. I didn't know what the reduced fare is. It's a usability or findability issue. I think it can be definitely solved by better design. I didn't know that. I didn't know the reduced fare is for kids who are less than 14 years, which nowhere it says. And that's really bad, right? And also think outside, right? And it's also from Berlin S-Bahn city train. A lot of people are really, when they get into stop and this door is not working, they stamp that in the glass, but people are struggling to read that. They should paste it somewhere closer to where they can open the knob, opening and closing the door, right? So it's also kind of things you can think of. Not just only the bad design, right? You can also appreciate some good design. For example, I use a Notion, and they make your message so personal. For example, they had some kind of a maintenance, and they made it so nice. They have a kind of a bottom, right? They have a human connection. Somebody is updating me that, hey, there's a maintenance going on. That's a good design. They're not disturbing me. They're kind of informing me, and they're also kind of more personal message. So I appreciate that good design. appreciate it, right? So that's why, like, you can find everywhere, everyday interaction. Either it can be good, either it can be bad, either it can be okay. If it's bad and okay, talk about how can you make it better, or think about how can you make it better. And other ideas to make to get experience is, I think most of you are full stack developers. I can highly recommend you to check out DevPost. DevPost is a platform where a lot of ongoing hackathons happens throughout the year. And it's also from companies like Amazon, Google, and also other companies. They host hackathons. They also give you some prize. I'm not interested in prize, but I'm interested in learning and increase your experience. They give you some APIs to test for free. And the important thing why you have to work in a hackathon or work a hackathon is like, you're gonna work in together with peers, like with other friends. So you work in collaboration. That's a real project, right? And it's time for me to ask some question. I'm not sure how you do this projects at Ironhack. Let's say you're doing some project for your bootcamp. Do you collaborate for your side projects, or you do it alone? Question to you, so maybe you can answer in the chat so that I can say what's the advantage, what's the disadvantage. So the question is, if you don't understand my question, I'm just like, do you work at the bootcamp at Ironhack? Do you work on your projects, bootcamp projects alone, or you work with more than 2 or 3 colleagues? Okay, I get my last React project was alone. Okay, in teams. Okay, that's good. Was a team. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of working in teams. Yes, of course you can work in silo. The reason why team is better because that's much closer to the reality, right? For example, I'm a full-time technical product manager. I never work alone. I have to work with my team. I have to influence my team. I have to give them why. I have to inspire my team so that they challenge me, and they also I challenge them. So you kind of try to get more soft skills, and you also build something better product instead of you thinking in one direction. They give you some. So I can suggest you, if you're a developer, try to collaborate with designer. They might improve your UI. Or if you want to have some business idea, or product manager can collaborate with the developers, and they can help you prioritize what features has to be done first and what features can be done later. So that's a great idea. And also, another thing, for example, which a lot of things you can talk about is like, once you write such blog posts or 5 case studies of your dream company, you become an expert because you've chosen your passion. It can be sustainability, it can be tourism, whatever it is. And you invested your time on researching about those competitive companies. And if you wrote some 5, 10, it doesn't matter. So I'm just talking about some numbers. You have sufficient knowledge, which nobody has that amount of knowledge on that topic. And you become an expert there. And I can highly recommend you to give a talk. And that's the best way to learn and also prepare. For example, it doesn't have to be at big conferences. It can be like small meetups like this, right? Share your knowledge. It might help someone. And also you get a lot of feedback from it. And in terms of visibility, it's really nice, right? For example, now when I apply for a job, I also say public speaking section. It indicates that I'm good at communication. And I can also link them my YouTube videos or from conference, from meetups, if they're available, so that people can take a look about how I communicate and how my communication skills are. And it shows that I'm willing to share, learn from each other's, and willing to share knowledge. And people really like that. Yeah, so I can highly recommend that. And you don't have to speak at conference. You can start with meetups. Okay, so what's next? And for example, the other thing which I wanted to talk here is this blog post, right? For example, this is 2012. I think nearly 9 years or 8 and a half years old post. I don't want to disclose the name because he's now a CTO of one of the very, very big company. And I think we all use that tool every day. And yeah, he challenged me. I applied for that position. At that time, I was a JavaScript developer. And he told me that, hey, you don't have an experience. But he challenged me that, hey, can you prove me wrong? So send me some sample JavaScript I'm proud of. At that time, I was not. So, but take this as a challenge. The advantage of if you write some case studies, if you write some things right, you can show those examples, your skills, showcase your skills, right? If somebody asks like this, if you don't have experience, you don't have 3 years experience, you don't have 2 years experience in UX, show them your case studies, show them your videos, you talk about those research, right? So that's the advantage, right? Challenge them, prove them they're wrong, show them you got skills for that. You show that you got a skills for where you can really excel in that role, right? I hope I'm not running out of time. And let's see. For example, my current role at Commerce Tools, how I got my job was not through I applied for the position, but it's like I started a community in 2019 called Headless Commerce because I was really passionate on Headless. It's a content management system for commerce. It's a new way of building some software applications. So I built that community and I met my recruiter at that community, and he was so much interested in my passion. And I also got to know about that company, Commerce Tools, which I work as current company. And I thought like I should work at this company because they're working on headless and they have so many great talented people, and this is such a great product to work for. So the recruiter approached me because I was so much passionate and I was a perfect candidate for it. And I kind of sidelined my competition. I didn't apply. I didn't have to compete with hundreds of different job applicants. And this is not only one example. I did it in past. I worked in Dubai for 2 years in 2015, between 2013 to 15. I also did some design jam events. And there also I got a customer experience manager position at Emirates without any kind of sidelining the competition. Was kind of really, I know the person who was like head of the experience side. It was only possible through my community initiative, not expecting anything, but kind of sharing my knowledge, involving with community. And I'm just talking about what you get out from the community. When you involve, when you contribute to the community, you get a lot of things back to you. Of course, it's not going to happen in one day. You have to do it kind of genuinely. I think you're going to see the results later. And I think I already covered this topic. What I want to talk about is if you're not getting enough ideas, try to do some side projects together with your colleagues, together with your friends. For example, developers can collaborate with designers, and they build some nice interface, some case studies. So that way you collaborate and you challenge each other, and you can put that side project as part of your project for both of your resumes, portfolio. It's a win-win situation for everyone. So I would say try to not do the silo, because that way you can also explain, this is my role and this is what I did as a designer, but the development is done by a friend and there. And it can tell a great example. And also it's much more real. And also think about always when you choose a bootcamp projects, or try to pick a project which are real. And that's why I talked about when you do a research, try to pick a product from your dream company, so that if it's a B2B, B2C, or B2B, it's easy to find target audience for testing and usability testing or user testing, so that you can get a feedback and work based on that. Okay. I think it's fourth one, I guess, not the third one. So the network, right? So I get networking is something it's really important, and finding out your mentor. When I'm talking about networking, I'm talking about finding out your mentor. So once you have case studies, once you have some videos, or once you have something to present, some GitHub projects, you can approach people from your dream company. It can be UX designer or a developer or a product manager. Hey, I worked on this side project. I worked on this project on GitHub. I worked on this Medium blog post. I saw you are a UX designer or a full stack developer at XYZ, your dream company. Do you have 20 minutes or 15 minutes to talk about it? I would like to discuss some of the things, how I can bring value. Again, you're not asking for a job, but you're looking for someone to speak. So the advantages, they can give you kind of advice. They can kind of critique your work, how you can make it better. And on the other hand, you can share your situation. Hey, I'm actively looking for this position. And that way, if they really like your work, they can refer internally. And it takes time. I know that I've seen it at Commerce Tools. I've seen it in the past, some other companies. The time it takes the job ad come to the market, there's already some preparation, goes on for 1 or 2 months. And if your mentor knows some company, they're opening in their team or in their company, the job ad is not even ready out there to the market, and he can reach out to you. I know one candidate who can be a great fit, and they can refer you, and you can skip the competition. So question is how to find mentors. Some other ideas is like, for example, in Berlin, we have a mentoring club. I think it's a mentoringclub.com or something. So I'm also a mentor there. So there you can book a call, choose the platform, and you can book a call for a UX designer, developer, product manager. I think there's one online, it's called ADP List. I think it's adplist.com for designers mainly. So you can also book a call with the experts and get a feedback for what you can do better, what you can, right? You should go with something to show, something to present. That way there's a win-win situation instead of just asking for help. That's not going to work. So go with some case studies. Definitely it's going to work. I never seen somebody telling you present something which nobody turned up. So most of the cases, people really appreciate you if you got something to present, right? Okay. For example, one example, when you're attending a lot of interviews. Again, before I talk about it, I think am I running out of time? Just give me a second. Just give me a hint. I just need another 5 to 10 minutes so that I will make it faster.
No, I think you're pretty good in time. So we still have about 17, 18 minutes.
Okay, that's good. So for example, one of my current mentor was my hiring manager. Even though I didn't get the job, but he liked me so much, and I was one of the top 3rd applicant out of 200 applicants. And all it started with having conversation with him and having a coffee session with him. And the advantages, he now knows my situation, and he also kind of offered me my resume to some other company he knows. And I almost got a job offer from that company, even though I didn't take that. But you see, there's an advantage, right? I'm only talking about the advantage having that mentor is you have a different way of finding a reference for your job, what you're looking for. So that always treat your hiring manager as your potential mentor. Show your passion and always ask for some great questions. So I'm going to talk in the next how you can increase that, how you can turn your hiring manager into potential mentor. I know I can talk on these topics a lot, but just wanted to cover. So yeah, the next topic I want to talk about is storytelling. Storytelling, it's such an important thing. Once you have content, once you have case studies, all those things, storytelling is such an underrated skill. It's really, really crucial. I've seen people do this mistake. They send a common resume for all jobs. Yes, I know that you worked on something, you did great things, but always customize your resume. Always customize your resume. I'm going to show my kind of Figma file to show you. Like when I apply for a job, I kind of prepare a resume for each job, a unique resume. And I have kind of set of content. I kind of choose based on job description, what they're expecting, and so on. And the other thing which is also important is when you're looking for a job description, look back at your things you did well, right? You worked on, like, for example, one of the chat mentioned about tourism. Let's say if you're applying for a UX position, you can always think about what did you do in tourism in align with a UX position in terms of customer experience. You can always relate, right? Skills which you can transferable skills with your current role to your previous role, right? Always look for such job description. When you do that job descriptions, when you read job descriptions of 10 to 15 job descriptions, you end up having 10 to 15 stories of your previous job, right? So that you can use your STAR method: situation, task, action, result. That's examples. That's a great resource to get an example. If somebody asks you hey, tell me when was your last time you had that. So you can collect that 10, 15 stories by looking at the job descriptions. Hey, I did that in my previous role. What was the situation? What was the action you took? What was the result? So I have a collection of 10, 15 stories from my previous job where I can shuffle and I can tell anybody at any time, depending on what they ask. Hey, tell me when you failed at your role. Tell me when you had a challenge, conflict with your team. So I have this preparation ready, and I can just get it whenever somebody asks. So do that. So it's a mapping. Again, look for skills, common skills you had, and that way you can generate your stories. And this is my Figma file, and you see here I have so many resumes here, and it's so many resumes for each company. And each company has a different skill sets and demand. So that's why it's really, really important. You customize it, you personalize it, and what's common skills I got, what skills they are looking for, what skills I have, and present that. I cannot present all my skills. I got 10 years of experience. I cannot present every skill and send my resume. I want to send a resume which is optimized for that particular job they're expecting. Okay. I think I don't know why I added this. Yeah, this was like one of the thing, right? Stories, right? I tell a story. I'm also sharing my experiences here in this talk. I also did. This was one of the compliment I received from one of the participants from the Ironhack event I talked in January. It feels really nice if you can help someone, if you can make their life better. So you see here, I think she got an interview just because writing the blog post, writing a case study. So always share your story. So inspire others and be helpful to others. That's really nice. That really feels nice. And this is one example. He was my student at Career Foundry, and he wrote this case study before even finalizing his job. He talked about how to tackle the design challenge, and he wrote a blog post about it. And he gone through all the cases, like what he did in the UX case study, and luckily he got a job there. So it's not because he wrote this case study, but he kind of shared, right? He kind of shared his case study. He kind of inspiring others. I just shared you to inspire you that, hey, he was not sure if he's going to get a job or not, but he kind of documenting it, and he can present that job. If you wouldn't have got that job, he can present it to some next position. Hey, look at here how I think. This is my way of thinking. This is how I solve this product challenge, right? Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about is about practice and prepare. So the first thing is asking. What I'm talking about asking is, for example, I think I also talked briefly in the previous talk. So if you got a rejection email, ask them, hey, I would really like to know what went wrong. I want to be the best candidate for the next round. if I apply for this job again after 6 months? So I think most of the time HRs are happy to answer you. At least I'm talking in the context of Germany. But if you give them a telephone number, they're gonna give you a feedback. They don't write you, but they give you a feedback. So ask for the feedback. So most of the time they respond. And also, I think it's not. Yeah, and also you can write if you're thinking of applying for a job, right? If you're a dream company. You can also don't just apply for your job as it is. Think about why you are the best fit, what value you can bring. You can also apply, even though it's for the startups, even though it's for CEOs, but I would say it's more like your cover letter should be like this. Tell me why you are the best and why you can bring value here, right? So, for example, I asked so many questions during one of the interviews, and my hiring manager actually gave me a tip because he was so much excited about me asking. I asked them almost a lot of challenging questions to them. Hey, what's the current challenge they are facing for this role? How can I bring value? What does the ideal candidate look like for this? What is the hardest thing? Ask a lot of questions during the interview, and ask your hiring managers, recruiters, if you're not clear about the role, ask for it. Hey, if you're a developer, hey, can you please show me the GitHub projects your developers are working on? If you read some culture about the company, hey, during the recruiter call, ask them, hey, can you demonstrate? I saw one of the company was mentioned innovation as their culture. I asked them in the recruiting, in the recruiter, talk with the recruiter, hey, can you give me a real example how the team did an innovation last year? They couldn't really give an example. They have to really find out a way, and they could have to come back with me there, right? So that makes me memorable for them. So ask challenging question. So it's really not obvious questions like what's the next round, what's the obvious questions. So ask some challenging questions so that you can also get more benefit during the interview. So to say what I'm trying to say is that your previous interview steps are really milestone. You can actually expect what you're going to expect in the next round, or who's going to be the potential person who's going to, what kind of questions they might ask. So you can already predict during your previous interview section. Okay, I think I'm at nearly end. I think one thing which really worked really well, and also you should take advantage of COVID, is online interviews. One thing it really worked out really well for me was I can use PPT. When I can't explain concepts very well, I use the presentation. I ask them, hey, I prepared a case study for you. Do you want to take a look at? And you can present it. And you can also list down all the things you don't want to talk. For example, I presented it and they asked me what my role was there in that short 10 minutes. And I couldn't present during that time. I had those slides in the end. And as soon as I kind of predicted what questions they're going to ask, and I kind of showed that slide. Hey, this is my role and this is what I did. And that way, they were kind of really impressed and kind of, hey, I could present myself better. I can tell a better story. And that's the advantage of having online interviews. And also you can put some stickies if you're forgetting something, and you can make a notes, try to follow that notes. For example, somebody try to speak quicker. You can also make it slow by you can use all these, take advantage of this COVID situation. That was really helpful for me. Okay, time for, I think I'm at the end, so time for me. I'm also thinking of giving a talk on these topics. Let me know what topics are interesting for you. Out of these topics, what topics are most interesting for you? Let me know in the comments. Oh, all three. Okay, all three. Okay. Okay, thank you for the feedback.